Okay.
All right. You tell me when, and then I think, hold on. Okay. Resume. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay, hi everybody. This is Dean Lucy Foster of Rutgers Business School, Newark. I am delighted and honored to present to you Professor Joseph Apresta of Supply Chain Management, and he's going to introduce you to the world of supply chain management as a major at RBS. Professor Apresta, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Lucy. And I'm glad I got a chance to talk to everybody today. I'm very passionate about the supply chain, and I'm also very passionate about the supply chain program at Rutgers, and then obviously particularly at the Newark campus. And I have the opportunity to teach both in Newark and in New Brunswick. So it's an exciting time for supply chain, as you'll see. Just a little bit about me, and I know this presentation's not about me, but I spent 39 years in industry, 20 years at Allied Signal, which is now Honeywell, and then 19 years at Johnson & Johnson. And it's interesting, when I started right out of college, I started as an industrial buyer. Back then, they didn't call it supply chain. But little did I know at the time that that role in a key area of the supply chain was going to afford me an amazing experience during my career, unbelievable opportunities in lots of different disciplines. And so I've had the opportunity to lead global teams and lead supply chain, and actually even supply chain prepared me to go into other areas. So I led programs and product lines and things like that. So after 39 years, I decided, you know what, I think it's time to give back and hopefully share some of my experiences. And I got a great opportunity to be a full-time professor here at the Rutgers Business School. And I'm really honored to be here. I wanted to share with you some of my initial thoughts because I've been here about 3 semesters, but I think it's important, you know, I'm new and I wanted to share with you what my thinking is. So here on the Newark campus, I've never felt so welcome by the administrative staff, my coworkers, the professors here, and as well as the students. So I've felt very welcome. There's a real good vibe at the Newark campus. The other thing about Rutgers Business School and the supply chain, it's got a real diverse professor and student base. So from the professor standpoint, there are many, I call them researchers and PhDs that are part of the program. And then there's also professional folks who came out of industry who also have master's degrees and PhDs. So we really have a combination of experience with our professors. And of course, the student base is diverse. And I think that's so important. When you're in the classroom and you're getting diverse thinking, it's very, very powerful. And certainly the supply chain really depends on diverse thinking. So I've been very impressed with that here at Rutgers. Like I said, professors combine a deep research and professional expertise. I think that's very powerful. It's a great combination. And the other thing is, you know, I was a little spoiled. I came from 2 world-class companies, and the last company, Johnson & Johnson, truly a world-class company. And my expectations are always high. And my observation is I went from a world-class company to a world-class university. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. And you guys should be grateful for that when you join us. There's flexibility for our students, whether that be with scheduling, day courses, night courses, and of course, they're starting to introduce even more remote learning. I find an incredible enthusiasm in the classroom from my students at the Newark campus. And we have excellent industry partnerships. The supply chain department makes it its business to really create partnerships with industry, companies within industries, thought leader groups. And actually, one of my new responsibilities is to foster those partnerships within the supply chain organization. The program is highly ranked. I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. So that's a really great thing. It's nice to be able to go through a program where learning is strong, and when you get out, you have that pedigree of a very highly ranked program. And then there's opportunities outside of the classroom as well, because I think the college experience, has to be in and outside of the classroom. There are many student clubs, particularly within the supply chain group, affinity groups, that truly embrace learning. So my initial thoughts in joining the supply chain. When you turn on the TV, first of all, I hope all of you are safe at home. Your families are safe as we go through this coronavirus situation. But if you turn on the TV, all you hear about are supply chains. And a lot of people go, oh, what's the supply chain or whatever? But the supply chain right now is our foundation, right? It's our foundation on how we're going to get new medicines to patients, how we're going to get equipment into hospitals, how we're going to make sure that our trade partners are operating efficiently, and how to make sure that we have supply. So I just kind of put this one slide together because the foundation outside of the public health piece, of which we still have a big part of within the supply chain, the actual physical supply chain is so important for our well-being and for our economy and for for our future. So supply chains are our foundation, and I think there's going to be more and more opportunities than even the great opportunities we have now within the supply chain. So what is a supply chain? Any organization anywhere in the world that offers a product or a service. So it's not necessarily just a product, it could be the service. The products and services are created from materials, equipment, labor, time, money, other resources. And what does this require? It requires that we have suppliers, manufacturers, our customers, and customers are a huge part of the supply chain. As a matter of fact, that's why supply chains exist, to serve our customers. Now, supply chains can be very simple or very complex. You sometimes may think of supply chain in terms of, well, it's for a big company, and that's where supply chains are. But that's not the case. Supply chains exist in organizations that are both large and small. The multinational corporation like Johnson and Johnson and our local restaurants here in Ringwood, New Jersey, all have supply chains. All need to understand the demand of the products or services they're given. All have to buy the things that support those products and services. All have to have a customer relationship management process. That's part of supply chain. Supply chains can be public or private. There are a lot of publicly traded companies and privately held companies. Supply chains are critical to both. And they also exist in profit and not for profit, whether it be a commercial business, a charitable organization or institution, or government. So what is supply chain? It encompasses end-to-end product and services. So just, for some of you have probably taken a lot of supply courses, and I think that's fantastic. And for those of you who have an interest in supply chain, this picture just kind of shows you some of the elements of the supply chain. The suppliers from the raw material to intermediate suppliers that process the raw material to actually finished material and finished goods from the supplier side. From a manufacturing side, where the actual product is made, and then the whole customer channel, whether that be through wholesaler or distributors, retail customers, and then the final consumer. Now, much of that is facilitated through our logistics, inbound transportation, outbound transportation. Every one of these elements are linked in the supply chain. And that's the interesting part of the supply chain. That's the exciting part of the supply chain as we go forward. And now today, more than ever, technology is linking us even closer and closer. So a certain need for people who understand technology that could bring us to the next level. So supply chain management. You have a supply chain, it has to be managed. Basically, it's the coordination of the network of otherwise independent trading partners. The supplier is different than the distributor, than the manufacturer. These are all independent trading partners that are coming together to provide the product or service. And together, these independent trading partners move things through the process. And it's not just a mechanical thing that supply chain leaders are involved in. Supply chain has to create a competitive advantage for the business. It must create value, right, by managing the processes of these trading partners so that they can collaborate efficiently, effectively, and in a cost-conscious way. So if you really look at it, supply chain is the execution process of any business. Very powerful. So if it's the execution baseline of any business, you need talented people to be part of the supply chain, to lead the supply chain, to come up with innovative and transformational processes in the supply chain. So we need more of that. And as you can see, the U.S. is projected to create an incremental 270,000 supply chain jobs annually. However, if you look at schools offering supply chain training and education, which includes Rutgers University, only 75,000 supply chain professionals graduate annually. So you can see the numbers. Our need for 270,000 jobs annually across that whole chain, and 75,000 people graduating from our schools. So more and more emphasis on supply chain professionals. So where are some of the typical careers? Well, if you break it down into the supply side, there's the purchasing end of things. There's strategic sourcing, where you're really looking at critical suppliers around the globe. One of the things that's become so important now in the supply base is making sure that we have ethical and sustainable sourcing practices. And one of the things to make sure that we maintain long-term relationships is supplier relationship management. Those are all roles within the supplier sourcing end of supply chain. From a manufacturing end of things, planning and scheduling, operations management, quality assurance, international trade, risk management has become so critical. And as you think about things with the coronavirus today, risk management will become even more critical as we reevaluate our risk appetite within our companies. And certainly to get anything done, project management plays a role and is a critical skill set in the supply chain. And then there's the customer side. Let's not forget the customer as part of the supply chain. There's customer service, forecasting, and demand planning. I can't tell you how important demand planning is for a business. How is the distribution channel run and managed, and customer relationship management? And then again, overarching to everything is our logistics, our warehousing, our transportation, and distribution. I've been very lucky during my course of the career. I've been able to work in each ends of the supply chain, the supplier side, the manufacturing side, had a customer service team, and certainly had responsibility for logistics. As I've been very fortunate, like me, like most of the other professors, can bring that experience to all of you. But we need more and more expertise in these areas. So there's a talent shortage in supply chain management. Several factors and strong trends have created this shortage. What I just described to you, what's the number of people coming out of the undergraduate and graduate programs, but also new developments in the supply chain. Supply chains are going to change. Companies are going to reevaluate where they have their factories, where they have their supplier networks, how they do their transportation. So, with that, there's the continued and accelerated pace of globalization, the rapid expansion of e-commerce. Amazon is the ultimate supply chain type of organization, e-commerce. The demand to speed up every aspect of the supply chain, a heightened focus on supply chain risk, widespread adoption of new technologies and innovations. That's what makes it exciting, because to create the competitive advantage, there's the relationship side of the business, and then there's how do you implement the technology side of the business. And it's that intersection of people and technology that is going to become so critical for the supply chain. And at Rutgers, that's what we try to put forth to you, not just to be one dimensional, but to look at the people side as well as the technology side. So many middle and senior level supply chain leaders, baby boomers, are, retiring. I retired from Johnson and Johnson. Now I have my second career. But we need people to come into business, to come into industry, to be able to grow within all of the functions of the supply chains. So employers, they're challenged to find enough talent and the right talent. And you all going to school, going to a great university like Rutgers, at the end of the day, you want to have a return on your investment as well. And that return on investment will turn into a job, but also a job that, and I always think you should keep this in mind, a job where you know that you can have impact. And those are the types of things that we will try to prepare you for, to have a job, but a job with impact. So this is a little bit of a word diagram type of thing. So supply chain is really at the leading edge of business and technology and major innovations. Whether it be machine learning, artificial intelligence, using a blockchain where you can really, which was originally a financial technology, what now will have you be able to drill down into the fine tiers of your supply chain. Green purchasing, making sure that sustainability is front and center in all the companies. Leveraging control towers for risk management, being able to have a view of risk around the world or potential risk around the world, just to name a few. But I think operatively, these are the technologies and innovations that really are critical to the supply chain. And I would just want you to know that many of the courses are really designed around these technologies, whether it be Lean and Six Sigma, risk management. We have the framework around these technologies and innovations. So careers in supply chain. I know that you all want to hear a little bit about that, but here's some things you can expect. As I mentioned before, there is job availability. Now, things today with the virus, I think will only create more jobs of the future. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on. So job availability will be there, I truly believe. Accelerated growth and advancement opportunities. I mean, I was very fortunate to be able to move into different areas within the supply chain, to manage different global teams within the supply chain. And again, your own growth and advancement is a function of what you put into it and what you learn. But certainly coming out of the Rutgers program will put you in a great position for that. We all want job security, and I believe these supply chain jobs are here to stay. pretty good income, excellent income and compensation packages for folks coming out of school. Due to a recent survey that Rutgers had taken, 79% of people who work in the supply chain are content and happy to be having a role in the supply chain. Supply chain jobs are available in every industry, like I said, large and small, and they're worldwide. For the last 19 years, I have had the great opportunity to lead worldwide teams for Johnson & Johnson. Location choices, again, many companies have a big network, whether that be within a region of the world or across regions. But there are also roles where you could be working from home and things like that. So supply chain skills are certainly portable. Travel and location opportunities, and then specialization, right? If you want to specialize, for example, in healthcare analytics and market and intelligence, there are special disciplines and industries that you can specialize in. And then, of course, being innovation leadership becomes very, very important. So these are just some of the areas, careers, and opportunities in the supply chain that we will look to prepare you for. So, sounds good, I hope, to you. What kind of work do you have to put in when you're at Rutgers and you're majoring in the supply chain? So supply chain management undergraduate curriculum is 24 credits. There are 5 required courses. All I feel incredibly foundational to your growth and in entering the workforce as a supply chain leader. So global procurement and sourcing strategies, critical, and planning and fulfillment. Like I said before, I can't tell you enough how important it is to understand the demand that your products or services are going to dictate. Business and logistics and transportation, truly a backbone. And even today, if you look at the transportation and logistics, it's really keeping things moving during this coronavirus. Project management, critical. I think project management is a skill set that is so important in the supply chain, and you guys will take that here at Rutgers. One of the really cool things here is that you have an opportunity to select one of these 3 areas. So either a client project where we partner up with a company and for a semester you do a project for that company. There's also the opportunity to do an internship in supply chain management. So you could do that in summertime internship. There are also co-ops in supply chain where you're embedded in the business during the course of the semester. So from my own personal experience, I pretty much taught each of these areas. And as an industry leader, was involved in client projects, had interns working for me at J&J as well as co-ops. So Rutgers really tries to prioritize that experience for the students. But then, like I said, supply chain is becoming even more and more of a critical. There's as you can see, these various disciplines and focus areas, whether it be in service management, taking courses on supply chain Six Sigma and Lean, fundamentals of supply chain management with SAP. SAP is a very strong software enterprise requirements planning platform, which is in many, many, many businesses. Understanding blockchain and its application to supply management, and it goes on and on. Negotiation, sales management. These are courses, these are elective courses that are offered by the university. So you have a strong baseline of your 15 credits, required courses, and you have truly great options for elective courses to take. And a lot of that may be with where some of your passion is or where some of your skill sets lie. So you'll have the ability to choose. The other thing that you should know, you're going to put in a lot of work. It's challenging. Things are challenging. And because of this, I would say, really positive challenge, Rutgers Supply Chain Management Program is ranked number 2 in North America. That's powerful. There are a lot of schools, there are a lot of competing schools today in supply chain management. Rutgers is ranked number 2. And in coming to Rutgers, I could see it, I could feel it. There's an intensity about wanting to continuously make this program as great as it can be for its students. And we're constantly challenged as professors to make sure that we are giving back everything we can to our students. So that is the program and the courses that you would take. Job opportunities. 92% are placed, over the latest statistics, 92% are placed within at least 3 months of graduation, with about 75% placed at or before graduation. The only thing I would preface is that, during this virus, things I don't want to say have slowed down. So some of the administrative areas have slowed down in some companies. But as you can see, under normal operating conditions, jobs are there. They're looking for more supply chain leaders, graduates coming out of the undergraduate schools, and 90% are placed within 3 months and 75% before graduation. Usually the starting salary for a Rutgers supply chain undergraduate is around $60,000 a year. It's a solid salary coming out of school, having 4 children that have come out of school, a place to be. Some companies do for additional compensation, maybe a signing bonus, maybe the company has a bonus plan, those type of things. But the base is about 1,000 coming out of school. And the average annual salary for a supply chain manager, let's 3 to 5 years experience, is about $84,000. Very, very solid for that amount of years of experience, 3 to 5 years. So, one of the messages that I'd like to leave with you, one, I would love for you to come to Rutgers because it's a great program. 2, you should consider the supply chain for a primary, but also a secondary major. If you're majoring in marketing, if you're majoring in finance, having a supply chain as a secondary major is incredibly powerful because you will be looking at the world from an end-to-end perspective. Remember, supply chain connects those dots. And if you were in another discipline, having that holistic understanding is very, very powerful. So, key message, we hope that you would consider a primary or secondary major in supply chain management. And we certainly hope that you come join me and the rest of the team at Rutgers. So, our commitment, my personal commitment, Lucy's commitment, we will make ourselves available anytime. So certainly if you have any questions, you have my email here and my phone number. So feel free to contact me anytime. From that, I will make sure, or we will ensure to represent you with all of our wonderful professors. More of an in-depth conversation on a particular area within the supply chain. And we'll do our best to make sure that we connect you with the appropriate professor. We'll ensure that the curriculum remains state of the art. We'll ensure that we will enrich our relationships with our industry partners because I think that's so critical, particularly within the supply chain space. And that's something that I am personally involved in as a leader of that program here. We want to ensure that all of our students have the career coaching that they may need, and make them understand and available for opportunities for their own development. I find that the professors here are very, very accessible. The career planning group as well. So it's important that that coaching is there for you, and that's what we're here for, to do that coaching and ensure that every day our students are in a safe learning environment, right? Physical safety, and also in a learning environment where you can have open thought, open dialogue. That's very, very important to me in the educational process. So physical safety, but also that safety of learning and that safety of diverse thought. And then hopefully, through all of this, we hope you have some fun along the way as you have your university experience at Rutgers. So with that, I just thank you for listening about the supply chain program at Rutgers, and how we think we can come together with our students and really developing great future supply chain leaders. So I want to thank you again. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Lucy.